Hello everybody, this is Wilkis Figuero from My Tech Audio Studios, here representing Sonible at this year's IMSTA FESTA with another video for you guys to show you two specific tools, the Sonible Smart Compressor and a little bit more detail about the Sonible Smart Reverb. What I'm working on right now is a song, it's a hip hop track that includes production. It also includes some aggressive rap vocals, an auto-tune type of chorus from a singer, and of course there's a lot of things that we have as far as percussion instruments in that track. I'm going to try to utilize these tools to kind of show you guys the process of mixing using Sonible products. I'm going to definitely use compressor, going to use the reverb to embellish the vocals and flatter the vocal performance. And of course, I'm going to incorporate some more tools like the Sonible Smart EQ as well, which you guys can purchase using the Smart Bundle. All right, so if you can take a look, this is what the Smart Compressor looks like. And you guessed it, it is a compressor that has a built-in AI function that gives you suggestive compression settings based on the content material that we run through the Smart Engine that analyzes. The Smart EQ does the same thing. It doesn't have any built-in presets because that's not what it applies. It creates a profile that adapts to your original content material. You just have to tell the plugin what it's actually listening to based on the suggestive smart profile that we have here in the plugin. I'm going to play you guys a little bit of this song so you guys can kind of hear what it sounds like. Okay, and I don't have anything on it, just have one plugin on the kick that I haven't run yet, but I'm just going to play it so you can get an idea of what we're listening to. You can see all the tracks I have in here. No processing going on here on any tracks. Got the Smart Reverb here, but I'm not using it. So right now, there's a lot going on. So one of the first things I like to do, I like to work with my percussive instruments right from the very beginning to make sure they're blending. Here I have a kick drum. And the kick drum is supplemented by the 808 bass drum. See that? And I almost feel like that kick drum is not really cutting through the mix. So what the Smart Compressor does, all right, is you have to assign a profile for this. So in this case, I'm going to assign a kick just to tell the Smart Engine what it's listening to in this case. All right, and I'm going to do something pretty interesting with this. Even though I have my kick drum and my kick drum is here, I'm going to play the kick drum and I'm going to hit the learn function. Check it out. Watch the compressor settings right here, change. The engine is learning the performance. See that? So it kind of controlled that little bite that the kick drum had at the beginning. Now, obviously, I have my 808 bass drum here. And one of the cool things about the Smart Compressor that it has, right? It has what we call sidechain ducking, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the Smart Compressor plugin also to my 808 performance. Now, before I do that, I'm going to create a bus that I'm going to use to send the signal from the kick drum to trigger the 808. So the whole purpose of this, I want the kick drum to cut through and not to clash with certain frequencies that 808 bass may have. So I'm going to use the sidechain ducking feature in the Smart Compressor to be able to achieve this so you can actually hear the kick drum a lot clearer. So I'm going to just assign just a quick bus that I'm not using here I can label this, okay? And I'm gonna rename it here. Okay, kick duck. And what I'm gonna do, this is the one that I have assigned here. I'm going to enable that same bus, okay? And that's going to be my triggering factor for this. Now, I'm going to, of course, enable sidechain ducking, right? And what the compressor is going to do is going to listen to the content that's going to the sidechain channel, okay? To duck those certain frequencies. Right here we have our sidechain ducking, but I really want to do what we call spectral ducking. So check it out. I'm going to play it, and let's listen to that. That's the kick drum. So even though the bass is playing, it's still listening to the profile from the kick drum in order to control the 808, right? When the kick drum is hitting. There it is. And the spectral ducking here that it's doing is making sure that those frequencies between those two things are not clashing with each other when they play. That's what we're looking at here. And that just allows the 808 and the kick drum to kind of live in the same space together. And I love that feature about the smart compressor. Now, let's listen to it with some hi-hats in there and see what it sounds like. So for this, I'm going to add a smart EQ to my little 808. Okay. 808 snare, just to kind of, you know, make it sound a little bit instrument. Now, if you look here at this, I'm looking for a profile for a snare drum. I can try that, but, you know, it's ultimately going to listen to what I have, and it's going to make adjustments based on that. Let me turn on the analyzer here. It's like night and day. See that? This is before. Now it's cutting through the mix a lot better. And this is just, I didn't really do much. I didn't have to really think. I didn't really have to overanalyze. The great thing about the Sonible tools is that it makes the mixing process seamless, especially for a user who doesn't have lots of experience, but you know what you're going for. It gives you instant results so you can listen to, and of course you can bypass and adjust these settings. So we talked about the smart EQ in our previous video, but this is all part of the mixing process, right? So now that I have this, everything is sounding really nice, right? Let's listen to the percussive instruments that we have here, right? So let me just see how everything is blending in. So if you listen to it, now this timpani is interesting because the timpani is combined with some snares in there, right? It's a timpani snare sound. I want it to have a little bit of reverb here. So in this particular case, I'm going to apply the smart reverb to the stereo timpani channel. And what kind of profile do I have for this? Wow. Really, there's nothing here that kind of meets what I have. I do have a snare, but it really doesn't fall under that category. But let's select that and see what it does. And we can always adjust those reverb settings for that. So let's hit the learn function, play the content, and let's see what happens. Wow, you hear that? That's exactly what I was going for, right? So if you look at the decay, right? The decay starts pretty big here, and then it gradually just fades away. Okay, and that's really what I'm looking for. Now, if I want something that has a pretty sharp decay, I can adjust this where I have a pretty sharp decay here, and then it gradually fades out. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, and of course, when we use the smart reverb, you can mess with the spectral analyzer over here. You got the particle. It's almost like you can kind of see the EQ curve for your devices here. Now, for percussive instruments, we do want some of that low-end rumble, but you can kind of tweak these depending on how you want your reverb to sound, especially in the low frequencies, right? And here you determine what kind of reverb you want. Do you want it to be more natural, like a natural space, more artificial? Let's make it a little bit more natural here, see what happens. That sounds really good. I really like that. Now let's hear all the percussive instruments here, play together, and let's hear it. Oh, I like that. Now, I have all of my percussion going into one single channel. Now, I need to glue everything together here. So for this case, I'm going to use the smart compressor to kind of tie all the elements together to kind of balance all the percussion. Okay, so I'm going to use the smart compressor here. And all I need to do is just let it ride. Check it out. Yeah, this is without it. Now, if I'm not happy with these settings, right? Because if you look at it, the attack, 81 milliseconds, not as fast as I would personally like it when I'm trying to kind of glue things together. But you can change these settings. I want to make it a faster attack. If you notice what happens here, right? It kind of turns off as you make your attack faster. Let's listen to it. If I wanted to go back and see the difference, I could hit this button right here. And that 81 milliseconds kind of works for me. And the spectral compression, what it does, it looks at frequencies that are exaggerating themselves at different sections throughout the performance, okay, and kind of brings those things down, okay, especially if they're clashing. This plugin automatically has an automatic gain knob. That's what it is. You can change that if you don't want it to be like that, so it automatically does the makeup gain for you. This is why it's a compressor with an AI function. Okay, it's smart and it's kind of helping you through the process. And of course, if you wanted to tweak things a little bit better, you have this graph here that allows you to kind of tweak your release and attack times based on these curves. Okay, so you can kind of mess with this and make these a little bit interesting and kind of model your performance to the music if you wanted to do that. Bring the release back a little bit. Woo! That's great. I love the way it sounds great. I will save. Okay, anytime you're working, you want to save. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in some of these melodies in here so we can hear what's happening musically. Okay. Piano is definitely super loud. You can hear it, okay? So what I want to do is I want to definitely use the Smart EQ here, okay? Just to give some life to this piano, okay? Now, before I do that, I'm going to just, it's all about going for it and experimenting. So in this particular case, I'm going to just shoot. I'm going to use the entropy EQ here, okay? And the entropy EQ, as we talked about in the previous video, it allows me to separate the material from the harmonics of the performance. I just want to see what the harmonics sound like for this piano. And of course, by me listening, I have the perfect weapon, the proximity EQ. There's a lot of reverb in that patch, okay? So the proximity EQ separates your content material from the reverberation of the room that you're in. See, that's the reverb. But you can do it in individual sections just to make it stand out a little bit more. Yeah, 808. Now I'm going to add my smart compressor to balance all that beautiful stuff that's happening. And of course, keys, baby. I'm using keys. So I'm going to play it. I'm controlling that piano attack, and it sounds a lot smoother. Now my strings sound cool, but I don't really hear them. And what better way to bring out what these violins sound like than to add the Smart EQ to these. So let me add a little Smart EQ to this single violin here. Lucky for me, I believe I have a violin profile here. Right, and I'm using my memory locations here. Let's listen to the chorus. Play it again. So there it is. Okay. So that sounds pretty good. I definitely want to mess with this guitar in the chorus. Okay. In the chorus section, there's a guitar here. Let's listen to it by itself. Let me add a little bit of that smart reverb right there and let's see what that does to this. Let's see if we have a guitar profile. I do. I'm gonna increase the pre-delay on this just to see what it sounds like. Now it sounds a little bit more like a reverb. I mean, not a reverb, a delay, pardon me. So that sounds awesome. All right, so now that we have that there, let's play it. Let's play it from the top.
Destination is a sign, I'm a right kind of for me.
All right, great. And this song is actually by Flight School alumni from the pre-boarding EP. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mess with that chorus. That chorus to me needs to sound a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to embellish it. See that? So what I'm going to do is with this chorus, I have two stereo tracks here. I'm going to bus them. I'm going to send them to an aux. All right, I'm going to create a new track right here just for these two vocal tracks. And I'm just going to call it vocal. Chorus. Chorus Vox. And I can't spell today, but this will be great. Chorus Vox. And we're right there, okay? So we'll save that. First thing I want to do is want to make sure they're balanced with each other. So I'm going to add my smart compressor here. Okay, I definitely want that. And for this, I'm going to put vocals as my profile. Okay. And I'm going to solo this. And I just want you to kind of hear what's happening in the chorus for this again.
Lady, not a thing you gotta do when you're riding co-pilot on wings. Destination is the sky. I'm the right kind of guy. I can get you everything you gonna need. I'm talking that money, the cause, the...
That's beautiful, okay? And what happens is we have a pre-chorus.
You're riding co-pilot on wings.
Right? So the word cuts off a little bit short there. So I need that to kind of reverberate a little bit more. So it extends the tail of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the smart reverb here. And you saw me do it already, right? I picked the profile here for this. I'll pick vocals, right?
You're riding co-pilot on wing. You're riding co-pilot on wing.
Right, you hear it's extending a little bit, but you can mess with the reverb time to change this, right? A little bit.
You're riding co-pilot on wing.
See that? I like to use the pre-delay a little bit here. 50 to 120 milliseconds. Check it out. Let's go a little bit higher today. Let's break all the rules, baby.
You're riding co-pilot on wing.
That sounds awesome. So I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go higher. Let's go 100.
You're riding co-pilot on wing.
Okay, so that sounds pretty cool. Now, right here, you can mess with between the dry and wet signal, right? Does it make sense? And right now, because it's right on the channel where it's playing, it's not an auxiliary track. I do have the dry signal higher than the wet signal, and I can manipulate this. Remember, you can mess with the spread, how you want the reverb to spread within the given space, and the density of that reverb. How thick do you want that reverb to be? You can actually mess with this right from here.
You're riding co-pilot on wing.
All right, let's listen to it in context with the music.
You're riding co-pilot on wing. Lady, not a thing you gotta do when you're riding co-pilot on wings. Destination is the sky. I'm the right kind of guy. I can get you everything you gonna need. I'm talking that money, the cars, the plane fuel up in the wrist, the chain, yellow diamonds never rust. Elevator on smash, let the life game out. If you with me, stand up.
Now, because I'm a nerd, okay, I'm going to add a smart EQ right on the chorus track. I'm just going to break it, see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? It sounds good. Okay, so this is all about experimentation. Let's check it out. I'm going to leave the background vocal okay, but I just want to see what this does to the main chorus. All right, so that's sounding beautiful right now. So the next thing that I want to do, okay, I want to mess with that verse, the second verse, the vocals on the second verse by my brother Javon Lawrence. So right here, listen to that second verse.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel it's up.
I can barely hear him, okay? So the question is, what do you do first? Do you compress or do you EQ? It's really up to you. Me personally, I like to compress first, okay? Because I don't want to bring out any frequencies that I'm eliminating by compressing after I EQ. So I'm just going to balance these vocals out. Now, I have all of these vocals going into a channel already, okay, because he has a lot of background vocals in the mix. So I'm going to add the smart compressor here for the sake of science, okay? And let's go right to Javon here. This is a male vocalist, of course, okay? And I'm going to hit, go ahead, cool.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude.
Now, this is the suggestive compression settings. Now, for hip hop, I know that the attack needs to be super fast. Okay, so I'm going to definitely increase this attack and make it fast because I needed to capture those transients right away. All right, and the ratio, I like my ratio to be a little bit higher when I'm doing hip hop vocals.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly with me, I can sit you on clouded chairs. Custom made flights, you in designer wears.
So it's starting to stick out. Now remember, I told you that the makeup gain for this thing is automatically, right? For smart compressor, I can turn that off and add a few more decibels.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude.
I can enable a soft limiting to avoid any clipping in there.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly with me, I can sit you on clouded chairs. Custom made flights, you in designer wears. The lane you had before ain't put you in these kind of layers.
It's sounding beautiful already. I haven't done much to it. Now what I want to do to these vocals, of course, I want to embellish them a little bit. So I can add an EQ, and it's up to me if I want to add the EQ directly on the track. I'm going to add it to the lead vocal. Okay, why? Because I want everything to be kind of separate in its own frequency as far as the background vocals, and I'm just experimenting here. So I'm going to add the smart EQ right here, and let's listen to it. Let's select the profile for vocals here that we have. Okay.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly with me, I can sit you on clouded chairs. Custom made flights, you in designer wears. The lane.
Now, the cool thing about the Smart EQ is that even though it gives me this profile, I have my own band here that I can use to manipulate the signal, right? So right here, I can open this up and change the kind of filter that I want to apply here. So I'm at 65 hertz. I want to cut around 85 hertz.
If you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly with me, I can sit you on clouded chairs. Custom made flights, you in designer wears. The lane you had before ain't put you in these kind of layers. You so stylish, my co-pilot's a paper chaser. She's so bad at Chanel frames and aviators. I can't say I made her, I just made her major. And when they try to holler, she
What are those vocals missing? I feel like they're missing some reverb. them in some natural space. Okay, I do have a reverb auxiliary track here that I put the smart reverb in already, but I have not selected a profile for this. Now, before I do that, I have to send my vocals to that track through a bus. All right, so I do have the reverb bus somewhere here that I need to find. Okay, there it is. So let's assign this. Awesome. Okay, so let me just send it there. Make sure I'm getting the signal.
If you ain't stand up,
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly.
So the key to this, because I put this in an auxiliary track, I want to make sure that my drive signal is all the way at 0. Okay, we know that, right? So you want to bring this all the way down, okay? And make sure that this is 100% wet. Because we know this. I'm already listening to the dry signal and I'm doing parallel processing.
if you ain't stand up.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly with me, I can sit you on clouded chairs. Custom made flights, you in designer wears. The lame you had before ain't put you in these kind of layers. You so stylish, my co-pilot's a paper chaser. She's so bad at Chanel frames and aviators. I can't say I made her, I just made her major. And when they try to holler, she radio breaker. No, you never take her. I got her first class. Gucci shoes, Jimmy Choos, and Tory Burch bags. Them dudes used to hurt her, thought you deserved bad. But when we pass by them, make sure you
I love this particle, the temporal particle over here. That lets me kind of manipulate this right here. Let's mess with the clarity. And what the clarity does, it doesn't muffle the reverb and the dry signal a little bit. If you wanted to mess with that, you can actually freeze these things.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer.
Right, so it captures the tail, but you can do infinite to come up with some cool effects. Let's go, Javon.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here.
It's an infinite reverb. Tell them, okay, we don't want that for this, but you can mess around with those settings right there, okay? Definitely one between rich and artificial here. Let's listen to it in the music.
If you looking for me, just know I'm out of here. Whoever thought I'd be a young fly rocketeer above altitude, I feel the top is near. So baby, fly with me, I can sit you on clouded chairs. Custom made flights, you in designer wears. The lame you had before ain't put you in these kind of layers. You so stylish, my co-pilot's a paper chaser. She's so bad at Chanel frames and aviators. I can't say I made her, I just made a major. And when they try to holler, she radio breaker. No, you never take her. I got her first class. Gucci shoes, Jimmy Choos, and Tory Burch bags.
Everything is sounding beautiful right now.
Thought you deserved bad, but when we pass by them, make sure you smirk back. We on the runway, you know that heaven's waiting. I pull a thrust of the future's our final destination. I'm saying.
So as you can see, these smart tools are great for the mixing process, right? The last thing that I want to do to kind of finish everything off is take everything and glue it together, right? So I'm going to take an auxiliary track, and this is going to be my submix, okay? This is going to be my submix channel, and for this I need to create, let me get rid of that. I need to create a stereo audio track, auxiliary track for this actually. All right, so this is going to be my submix. Let me name it right here. And what I want to do is I want to take the outputs of all of these devices, my vocals and my channels that I have here. I want to select them. Okay. my melodies and my drum tracks, and I want to send them, hold shift option, and send them to that submix track, which is here. And this allows me to control the entire song.
If you look, if you looking for me, just know I'm out of here.
So right now everything is kind of glued together, and if I wanted to add a smart EQ, I could right there to kind of shape the overall, but I'm pretty happy with the way things sound. All right, so if you guys have any more questions regarding Sonible products, make sure you go to Sonible.com, support the software that you use. Make sure you support it, you buy it, okay, to support these companies, especially during these times. And make sure you guys support, share these videos. IMSTA FESTA is an amazing place for you guys to come and experience and learn. And I'm glad you guys took the time to hang out with me today. Once again, this is Wilkis Figuero, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.